have your pieces that are cut out of any kind of paper and set those aside. And you want to choose your inks, okay? I'm going to turn the lights off so you can see. There you go. That's better. So for this, I'm going to have green, and I think I'm just going to use some white, green and white maybe, just for this one, maybe a little bit of black, okay? So I've got my colors. This is a brayer. It's just a roller. It's for rolling out ink. And then I have my paper that's cut and ready to go. So I'm going to set my paper pieces to the side here, and I'm going to clean everything off my table that I can, all right? You probably want to wipe your table so you don't get a bunch of like eraser stuff or anything left over. Just wipe it down, all right? So you're going to need two areas. One area is for printing. One area is for rolling your ink, okay? So this is the part where you're probably going to need to like put your sleeves up. I'm going to print first on the brown paper. I got my paper ready to go. Before you open up a new thing of printing block ink, you might want to like give it a little squeeze here and there, because sometimes there's a little bit of liquidy, gooey stuff in it. All right, and then you're going to get that out, and you're going to go directly on the table. So I'm just going to squeeze a line of ink. It's actually not really ink, it's really just paint. I'm going to put that right on the table. And I'm going to take my brayer, and I'm going to slowly move it back and forth, okay? If you go too fast, it's going to flip ink all over the place, okay? There's aprons up here in the front if you need aprons. So I'm moving it back and forth, up and down, side to side. There's a certain sound that you get when you know the ink's ready. You have to warm it up a little bit. And the sound is kind of like rain, okay? So you may have to move it up. It's starting to sound like that. It's a little bit thick, but that's okay. So just spread it out a little bit. Can you hear that? A little bit. It's just kind of like rain falling, just a little bit, like that. That's it. That's the sound you want, okay? Believe it or not, printmaking is about sound as well. So there we go. The ink's warmed up and it's ready. So I've got my white. Now, if I want to just use white, then that's fine. But if I want to add a little bit of color to it, you can if you'd like. So you can add color to it. I'll just add a little bit of green. Ooh, it's kind of, oh, it flaked onto there. So be careful. Some of this stuff's old. Most of it's new, but some of it's old. I'm just going to put a little bit of green in there, see what I get. All right. So I'm going to roll this in. There we go. Okay. It's kind of like a mint green. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this brayer, and I'm going to apply the ink to the surface of my plastic, and I'm going to roll it on. Now before I finish rolling it on, I think I'm going to put some of these papers down. I have to hold them a little bit. This is just to add a little bit of decoration. Ooh, and if it sticks, you have to kind of push it down again. All right. That does not want to stay because it's really small. So there we go. That's stuck. Now it's going to get on the table. That's okay. That's fine. All right. So let's see. I have my color down. I have white. Maybe I want to put another piece down on top of that. Put a little bit of ink. Okay. So maybe now I want to add another color. So this is all experimental. It's all up to you what you want to do. Ooh. I think I need like some red or something. Something other than just white. All right. So at your table, if you want to have like a red and a green, there's different size brayers. There's big ones and small ones. So maybe I want that there. It doesn't all have to be, whoa, they keep coming off. Okay, that's what it is. And I think I'm going to do a little bit of red. So just experiment and see what you come up with. Maybe I'll do a little bit here. And I'll go over this just a little. All right. Now, if you want to, you can take a stick and you can draw in it. Like maybe I'll just do a little I'll do a little drawing. If you want to do like a specific drawing, it doesn't have to be abstract. Mine's abstract, but yours can be realistic. I mean, the little happy faces, you can write something. If you write something, write it backwards. Because prints show it backwards. I wrote ABC. Okay, so I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to get my paper. So this is my plate. It's on plastic. I'm going to take my paper, and this is smaller than the entire transparency, so I have to figure out where I want to put it. So I think I'm just going to put it right here. I'm going to lay it down, and I'm just going to very carefully press the paper against the plate, which is your plastic transparency. And it might smear on the edges, it doesn't matter. And you're going to probably get it on the back of it, that's okay. And you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put my name on my paper, but that's okay. Just kind of keep them where you are if you forgot. Or you can get a Sharpie and very gently write your name on the back, P2. That's the easiest thing to do. There's Sharpies, you know, on this supply table. Okay, so let's say I've pressed it down. This is called burnishing when you're pressing the back of it. You can just use your hands. And then you can peel it back to see how it looks. Okay, sometimes it's hard to find the edge. There we go. You can peel it to see how it looks. And I think it's enough, so I'm going to pull that off of there. All right, so there's my first print. And then this little piece of paper stuck to it. You could leave it, or you can pull that off of there. So here's my first print. So if I'm not happy with it and I'm like, oh, I think I want to add some more to it, I could go in and I could add some more color if I wanted to, add more, whatever you want to do. And then I could take this and I could pop it back down again, sideways, crooked, however I want, and I could apply more paint. So if you want to, you can layer it up over and over and over again, okay? So let's say that's what I wanted, and I can pull this up again. Or maybe whatever you print the first time you really like, and you're like, oh, I want to keep it like that. You can also let it dry and print it again. It's really abstract, so I'm going to set that aside. Then I think maybe I'm ready for my next one. So maybe I'll do a different color on top of here, or maybe I'll use someone else's color that they've put out. So basically this is experimenting with color and trying a variety of different things. And yes, you can have the ink really thick. You can also kind of smear it like this. Can you paint it? Yes. You can actually paint with your fingers. You can actually pull off the paint like this. It comes off your hands and stuff. You can use brushes instead. You don't have to use a roller. You can paint a whole bunch of stuff on here, but it dries quick, so be careful. And then let's say I'm ready to print. So I'm going to put my white paper down. My hands are covered in paint, so this is going to be messy, but it's fun, I think. Hopefully you'll like it. And I'm almost done with the demo. So I want you to just do as many prints as you'd like. Oh yeah, my name. Oh, well, you know what? Amy. There we go. There's my name. Okay. And remember, you can always trim these at the end if you want to. Okay, so that one's more interesting. That's got more stuff going on. Okay. If you want to do something that's more like realistic, or you want to, that's totally fine. Paint whatever you want. You can paint a scene, you can paint anything, print it. I've seen people, and I've done this many times. I've done like portraits and, you know, objects, things like that. You can layer it all up. If it dries, if it gets dry, then let me know and I'll help you like spritz the paper with water before you put it on here. The other thing you can do is you can get a piece of paper that is larger than this, this plastic piece, like I showed you before. And when you lay a paper that's larger on top of it, then you're going to get this stuff around the edges and it looks kind of cool. So you'll get something really large like that on a big piece of paper. So it's up to you the sizes that you do. When you're finished printing for the day, what you can do, if you want to keep this, it goes to the drying rack. It's got to have your name on it, so get a Sharpie, drop your name on the transparency in the class period, and then make sure your names are on your pieces of printing that you do. And then they go on the drying rack. If they're really small, I think I cut really small ones like this one, you want to make sure that you I'm just going to do this really quick so you can see what I'm talking. You want to make sure that you put a large piece of paper underneath small ones, or they'll fall through the big shapes in the drying rack. Does that make sense? Also, some people do this on the back of their paper, and they draw on it. Well, not really drawing. We can use a pencil, it doesn't matter. And then you get a different kind of design. So these are really quick and fast, and I didn't really think much about them, but when I did these, I really did. I thought more about my shapes, I thought more about what I was doing, and you can see that my composition's probably a lot better on the ones I spent time on, if that makes sense. Whatever you get, and it's what it is. It's experimentation. So when you clean up, if you don't want to keep this, take this entire thing, you can either take it to the sink and you can clean it off in the sink and then dry it with a paper towel, or you can get a sponge from over there, a big yellow sponge. You get it really wet, squeeze all the water out, and you have to wipe this whole thing down, and you can wipe this down. It's going to be a bit of a mess, but after you wipe it down with the sponge, you have to go over it with a paper towel because the sponge cleans up the paint and the paper towel picks up all of the residue. Because my next class is in here using white paper, if you can believe that. Okay. You ready? Yep. All right, so push up your sleeves and here come the lights. Get your inks, put away your phones, have fun with this. Let me know if you need help. I'm going to come around. You can roll out ink at your tables and have a couple of different colors. You can have your own stash of ink, whatever you want to do. Okay, the time is yours.